everyone, welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk Immigration. We have Brampton Immigration Consultancy's Marketing Director Sandeep Singh with us. Today we'll be talking about the immigration plan for the next 3 years, which is 2021 to 2023. And it has also been released that in the next 3 years, Canada is set to welcome 1.2 million immigrants. So Sandeep, can you tell us what is an immigration levels plan?
So, immigration level plan is a legal document, I would say, which is presented in the parliament. It's just like a budget that a finance minister presents in the parliament, saying that we are going to spend money for next year or next 3 years in this correct direction. So, immigration plan is something where immigration minister announces that what are his plans for 2021, 2022 or any year that is represented. If you remember last year, Mr. Trudeau's government announced that they are going to bring 1.2 million people, and the target for 2021 was 400,000. Biggest immigration target ever in the history. And guess what? Canada did make history this year. We had more than 400,000 people who got permanent residency in Canada even during pandemic. That's a success. That's a story every individual must know, that Canada is welcoming people. Canada wants more immigrants in the country. Even during pandemic, if the target was for 400,000, we have achieved that target by giving permanent residencies to individuals who are within Canada. If we were unable to give permanent residencies to someone who were sitting outside Canada, we were able to give permanent residencies to students or temporary foreign workers. The programs like TR to PR and many other programs that came up, PNPs and other express entries, under express entry, Canadian experience class, we had a draw of 75 CRS, a historic draw. Many historical events happened during last year. 2021 was an amazing year for immigration for at least people who were within Canada. So immigration, why did this happen? The reason behind that was that immigration level plans were presented by the immigration minister, and the target was announced that we need to recruit 400,000 immigrants to Canada. And when this was passed in the parliament, it was responsibility of immigration minister to achieve that target, whether there was a pandemic or whether there was no pandemic. So I'm hoping when there will be no pandemic, when we are out of this balloon, the bad days, we'll have more quality people coming from outside, we'll have more people getting permanent residency. And the target for this year is again 400,000 plus. So that means we are going to achieve that target even more easily, more fast, because I assume the pandemic won't exist for long.
Right. And do you think that the pandemic will affect the numbers in 2022 and 2023?
I don't assume that. I assume that yes, we need to understand one thing, that in 2021 there were less students who entered Canada because of the pandemic. But if there is no pandemic, we'll have federal skilled worker draws out. If there is no pandemic, we'll have people from outside world to come to Canada on a permanent residencies. Although the numbers have started increasing for students as well. So that means students and temporary foreign workers, even this pandemic continues, then there are high chances that the students and temporary foreign workers will get programs like TR to PR, maybe another draw like 75, or anything can happen in immigration. So nothing can be said that, this is the direction we are going to move on. The only direction is that we need to recruit 400,000 people. We want 400,000 people to get permanent residency in year 2021, 2022. That's the target. It will be the responsibility of the immigration minister to see how he fulfills this requirement. He's answerable because these plans are presented in the parliament. These plans are passed in the parliament. So he's not only answerable to the opposition, he's also answerable to the people living in Canada, because these are some promises that they have made. So we'll love to see how they achieve those targets. But I personally feel that if Trudeau government was able to achieve target during 2021, they can achieve this target anytime.
While we know that the government is supposed to add 10,000 more immigration requirements, so not requirements, but 10,000 more immigrants every year. For example, this year we had 401,000 immigrants at
Next is
target.
411.
Next is 411, and then by 2023 it's 421,000. But considering that, there's also this one factor that 1.8 million immigration applications are still pending. There's a backlog of 1.8 million applications. Why do you think people putting those things into, as a factor, they should apply to Canada?
Yeah. So undoubtedly there is a huge backlog, and I'm not gonna defend Canadian government on that. Whether it was a pandemic reason or any reasons, the backlog still exists. But my question to an individual will be that will that backlog stop you to apply for Canadian immigration? A country which provides you with free education, a country that provides free health services, a country where you enjoy your human rights. Will this backlog actually stop an individual to apply for permanent residency? 100%, there is a huge backlog, and Canadian government needs to work on that backlog. But for a common man, I don't think that this backlog would stop him or her to move ahead and apply for permanent residency or even for the temporary permits, and then come to Canada, study, and slowly and steady become a citizen of Canada, not by even paying a single penny for the citizenship. So it was in a mandate letter by Mr. Trudeau. I think during last interview we did discuss about this. The Canadian government has announced, the mandate letter announces, Mr. Trudeau wants this, that individuals should not have to pay even a single penny for a citizenship. So someone who is coming to Canada on a study permit, and one day once he receive his citizenship, he won't have to pay anything for the citizenship.
Right.
That is a gift. That is how important that individual is for Canadian economy, how important that individual matters to Canada. That proves that. So I personally feel, yes, the Canadian government needs to do a lot of recruitment. They need a lot of manpower. They need to reduce that the backlog of 1.8 million. But on the other hand, I personally feel that the permanent residency cases should not stop. If you qualify under any of the program, do apply today. You don't know when. We never knew that we could even see a draw of 75. I mean, I'm 100% sure none of the people in the industry ever could imagine a CRS score of 75 draw coming out. So immigration is very unpredictable. You should, if your aim is to come to Canada, use all your resources, use all your options, and apply for permanent residency in any stream where you qualify.
And that brings to my next question, actually, that there are 4 immigration classes, but in this immigration plan we're focusing mainly on economic admissions. So why do you think that is, and what role does express entry play in this?
So express entry, let's start with the express entry. So express entry has 3. They have many classes, but I would say majorly 3 classes. A Canadian experience class, which is for people who have Canadian experience. FSW, for someone who's sitting outside Canada, want to apply for permanent residency through express entries. And the third one is trade. I would also add PNPs to it, provincial nominee programs. Canada has started focusing on this. I personally feel during this pandemic, there will be another target audience that Canada will have to focus on. That will be entrepreneur and investors, because when they come in, they will generate more business, they will generate more jobs, and that will help Canada to recover. Along with that, when we are talking about express entry, during last 1 year, majorly, we have seen Canadian experience class or somewhat PNPs working. We haven't seen major draws of FSW because the borders were closed and the Canadian government stopped working on FSWs. I personally feel that once everything is normal. For few months at least, there will be a lot of work that will be done on FSW because there's huge backlog on FSW because for last year and a half, there were no FSW draws. So express entry is always the best option for individuals who can qualify under express entries. Even people who don't qualify, one thing that this pandemic has taught us is that do make your profiles. Have your profiles ready. You never know. As I said before, there can be another draw with CRS score of 75. Relying on that will be a wrong decision. Don't rely on that. But how difficult is it to make a profile and be ready if you get picked up? Yes, it's a luck-based thing that if you get a CRS score of 75, you may get your permanent residency, but don't rely on it. Use all your options, as I said before. Express entry seems like a good program, although there's a lot of work that needs to be done. There are many technical issues that needs to be handled, and I personally feel there is a lot of room of debate on express entry. But that debate needs to happen in the parliament or between the professionals. When I'm talking on this platform, I would rather encourage people to apply for express entries, PNPs, entrepreneurs, study permits, anything where you qualify, because if Canada is your dream, this is the path that you need to follow.
Right. Actually, my final question was if you had any piece of advice, but seems like you already answered that. So if I'm understanding this correctly, you should have your file ready. You should have applied through a consultant, but at the same time, considering the backlog, you should always have a backup plan, or
Right.
you should not totally rely on that. Is that right?
So 100%. So as I said, immigration is very unpredictable. Someone who really want to get permanent residency in Canada must have more than two options, so that you use all your options while applying for permanent residency. This plan, the plan 2021-2022, clearly defines what Canada is looking for. So this plan means what are the plans for Canada. So what does Canadian government think about immigration? It's on individual. How does that individual get benefit from this plan? So Canada has announced this is the plan. Now you need to choose how can you be part of that 400,000 people? How can you become one of those? And if you really want to do so, talk to a Canadian lawyer or a licensed Canadian immigration consultant who is authorized by the Canadian government. Please be aware of the ghost consultants. Don't be part of that. Canadian government doesn't permit ghost consultants to give any advice, and taking advice from ghost consultants can be risky.
Well, thank you so much, Sandeep. That's all we have today for the immigration plan for 2021 to 2023. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy New Year, and thank you for watching.